Good morning, everyone. This is the TradingPub.com daily report, and what we're going to do today is take a look at a couple of different markets. Typically, we look at the S&P futures, the E-mini S&P futures. It's very important with the global economy that we're living in to look at those E-mini S&P futures, see what they did overnight, see what levels the market bounced off of or rallied up to and failed. So again, that can help give support and resistance areas for the day. We also try to take a look at one different market a day. A couple days ago we looked at gold, yesterday we looked at crude oil, and today the market that we're going to focus on is the Australian dollar futures. So real quick before we get started, I'll give you a second to read through this risk disclaimer, and then we'll take a look at the numbers. Alright, as far as the S&P goes, yesterday was anything but boring. As you see, this chart's kind of like a roller coaster. You go up and down and up and down. And if you notice, yesterday we had sold off all the way down to the 1133 area. So again, sold off to 1133. Remember, yesterday 41 was the Globex low coming into the day session. We broke through that area, came down all the way to 1133. And then in the last couple of minutes of trading, you saw this huge rally from 1140 all the way up to 1155. So again, we asked the question yesterday, I don't know if any baseball fans are out there, but we asked which was more surprising, the fact that the Rays came back and ended up going into the playoffs after a 6-0 lead, or the rally in the stock market. And I think they're both about the same level of surprise there. It's just unbelievable comeback towards the end of the day. So some numbers to take away from that. It's always important when you see these large moves in the market, look at where they stopped. And so, for instance, this rallied right up to that 55-56 area. So that's going to be a key area for us to watch as a resistance point. So looking at the market, and what we try to do is just go through the flow of what the market did overnight. Notice we rallied up to 1160. We came back down. You saw it base around 1147. We came back up, and notice how it came back to this 55 level, which was the same level that that spike rally stopped. So again, notice it came back to that, and a lot of times in the Globex you'll see that where the market will move one way or another, then it comes back and tests the Globex open before continuing the trend. So again, we're definitely going to want to remember that 1155 to 1156 area. We came down to 1145 here, sort of chopped around, and then came down to 1139, 1140, trading at 1142. So some numbers to take away from this: 1155. We've got this 1160 to 62 area, which the past few days we've talked about how important 62 was. Based on all of this support here, you saw support here, and then the support was finally broken. And then if you note, yesterday we came up, this rally came right up to the 1162 area, sold off, rallied back, came back down. So we're still seeing 62 come into play. But a number that's going to be very important today is going to be that 1155, 1156 area. You can kind of use that as a pivot to gauge if the bulls or bears are in control. If we start to get above 55, that's the bulls taking control. Below 55, the bears are still in control. So consider that and know that 62 should continue to be resistance. If it was resistance 2 days ago, if it was resistance yesterday, chances are it will be resistance today. And same thing, once you break through that, that number then becomes support. The reason that we want to take a look at the Australian dollar is that it's really had some incredible moves over the past couple of weeks and months. And if you look at the Australian dollar here, notice we had rallied up to the 110 area, came down all the way to about par, right around the $1, broke just below it, rallied all the way back up to 106, and have now come back down to 96. And typically, when you see a big down move like this, a lot of times afterwards you'll see some consolidation in that market. And so it's going to be important to watch this and see which way the market starts to break out after the consolidation. Now typically the Australian dollar is going to move with the overall market. So if you see the overall market rising, people tend to go into the Australian dollar. If you see a lot of fear in the market, people tend to come out of the Australian dollar and move into things like the US dollar or bonds. So again, extremely important to look at and watch, especially because currency future options are expiring next Friday, so we'll probably see some pretty volatile moves in the whole currency sector, and most likely we'll be highlighting a couple different currencies next week. Well, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and we'll be back for our next report on Monday morning, and we'll see you guys in October.